chosen soul, listen to something that is going to completely transform how you understand the true power of your compassion and what has been happening in dimensions you cannot see. 3 weeks ago, you did something you considered completely insignificant. A simple act of kindness that you probably don't even remember clearly, because for you it was just being a decent human being. But that gesture, that single moment of genuine compassion, caused such a devastating impact in the celestial realm that even I myself had to stop everything I was doing to witness what was unfolding. You saved an angel without knowing it, without realizing what was happening, without having any idea that your human choice directly interfered in a celestial crisis that could have permanently altered the balance between light and darkness in this universe. And when I say you saved an angel, I am not speaking in metaphors or using poetic language to make you feel special. I am revealing a literal operation that occurred in your life where your simple human kindness became the difference between a celestial being continuing to exist or being lost forever in a void between dimensions. This angel was in critical condition, literally dying in spiritual terms, had been lost between the physical and celestial dimensions for months after a cosmic battle that nearly destroyed him. He had lost connection with the higher hierarchies, was wandering in a frequency where he couldn't fully manifest in either dimension, unable to return home. And worse, he was beginning to lose the light, the angelic essence that defines who and what he is. In just a few more hours, he would have transformed into something that should never exist in the created order, an empty entity, a spiritually dead angel, a being with celestial knowledge but no divine connection. Something the dark forces could corrupt and use as a weapon against heaven itself. But then you appeared in his desperate situation, with your natural kindness that you don't even consider remarkable, with your genuine compassion that flows from you as naturally as breathing, and you made that simple gesture, that action, that for you was just a normal moment in your day. But for this angel, it was literally the difference between continuing to exist or ceasing to be forever. Subscribe to this channel right now and activate every notification, because what I am about to reveal about how your simple human actions impact massive spiritual battles, about what really happened when you helped that person or situation 3 weeks ago, and about why I personally decided to reward your unconscious kindness in ways that will transform your entire reality forever, is going to completely shatter everything you thought you knew about the power you carry. Write 777 in the comments if you genuinely helped someone or something recently without giving it much importance, and you are ready to discover the true celestial magnitude of your compassionate action. Let me explain to you how an angel can become so catastrophically lost that not even the highest celestial hierarchies can locate him to bring him home. This specific angel had been involved in a cosmic battle against forces attempting to infect Earth with total despair and hopelessness. A spiritual war that you never see reported in any news. A conflict that operates in dimensions most humans don't perceive, but a war that determines whether humanity maintains the capacity for hope and compassion, or plunges into permanent darkness and cruelty. For 500 years, this angel fought on the front lines of this battle, 5 centuries of protecting the frequencies of love and kindness in human consciousness, blocking invasions of hatred and bitterness that dark forces constantly try to spread, keeping open the channels that allow people like you to continue feeling natural compassion in an era where being genuinely good has become increasingly rare and difficult. He was one of the primary guardians ensuring that human hearts don't completely harden, despite all the cruelty and suffering they witness and experience. But in one of the most intense battles, something went catastrophically wrong. The dark forces deployed a tactic that had never been tested before in the entire history of spiritual warfare. They created what can only be described as a dimensional explosion, an energetic blast that fragmented his spiritual reality and violently tore him from his natural dimension. Imagine being ripped from the only reality you have ever known and thrown into an empty void between worlds, a place with no coordinates, no landmarks, no way to navigate back home because you cannot even remember where home is anymore or how to access it. That is exactly what happened to this angel. He was catapulted into an intermediate frequency that exists between the celestial dimensions and the physical world. A place where he was trapped, unable to fully manifest in either dimension. He could subtly influence the physical world, but couldn't access his full celestial power. He could perceive the higher hierarchies calling for him, but couldn't communicate back to them. His signals couldn't reach them. Their signals couldn't reach him clearly enough for him to navigate back. And most terrifying of all, every single day he spent lost in this in-between frequency, he was losing a bit of the angelic light that defines his very existence. Like a divine battery that was slowly but steadily discharging until it would be completely depleted. The angelic essence that makes an angel what they are was literally draining out of him into the void, and once that light is completely gone, what remains is just a shell, an entity with memories of being angelic but no actual divine connection. Something dark forces can corrupt and turn into a weapon. The celestial hierarchies immediately mobilized every available resource to find this lost angel. Archangels traversed entire dimensions, searching for any trace of his energy signature. Seraphim tracked subtle frequencies across multiple planes of existence. Cherubim investigated every energetic anomaly that might indicate his location. Nothing worked. He was lost in a frequency so specific, so unique, so precisely between dimensions that not even the most advanced celestial detection methods could locate him. It was as if he had been erased from existence entirely, and meanwhile, the dark forces were celebrating, because they knew that if they could keep this angel lost long enough for his light to completely drain, they would have won something unprecedented. A corrupted angel is the most devastating weapon darkness can possess, because such a being maintains partial access to celestial codes and knowledge, but operates in service of destruction rather than creation. The plan was working perfectly. His angelic light was diminishing with each passing hour. His connection to the higher dimensions was progressively weakening. Within days, he would cross the point of no return and be completely consumed by the void, until you appeared in his life and changed everything. Write 888 in the comments if you are starting to understand that what you thought was a small act of kindness was actually participation in a cosmic rescue operation. Now, here is what you need to understand about how angels in crisis operate. They don't appear asking for help directly. They cannot knock on your door and explain that they are celestial entities in desperate need of assistance. The spiritual laws that govern how angels interact with the physical dimension don't allow that kind of direct intervention in human free will. Instead, when an angel is in crisis and needs human help, they project themselves into the most ordinary, mundane situations of human life. They disguise themselves in forms and circumstances that seem completely normal. And then they wait, hoping that someone with a pure enough heart and sharp enough spiritual intuition will perceive that something greater is happening beneath the surface appearance. This lost angel found his way into your life 3 weeks ago. Do you remember? There was a person who appeared in your path, or maybe it was a situation involving an animal, or perhaps it was a stranger asking for help with something that seemed trivial. You looked at that situation and something happened inside you, something deeper than social politeness or cultural obligation. You felt an inexplicable compassion rising from a place in your heart, that you cannot quite name or explain. A genuine desire to help that wasn't motivated by wanting to look good to others or earning karma points or any calculated reason. It could have been someone on the street asking for directions, and you didn't just point the way, you walked them to where they needed to go, even though it took you out of your way. It could have been a co-worker going through obvious difficulties, and instead of avoiding them like most people do, you sat with them and really listened. It could have been an abandoned animal you encountered, and instead of walking past like you were busy, you stopped and made sure it was safe and cared for. It could have been an elderly person struggling with something, and you helped them without them having to ask. The specific situation doesn't matter as much as what happened inside you when you encountered it. You looked at that person or that situation, and something in your soul said, I need to do something to help. Not out of duty, not to impress anyone, not because you thought it would come back to you, but because your heart was genuinely moved by another being's struggle or need or pain. And in that moment, you were looking directly at a lost angel who had projected himself into that form as a last desperate attempt to connect with someone pure enough to serve as a bridge back to the celestial dimensions. What you didn't know, what you couldn't have known, is that the person or creature you were helping was actually a celestial being in critical condition, an angel who was hours away from spiritual death, and he couldn't tell you the truth, couldn't reveal his real identity. Because if you had known you were helping an angel, your motivation would have shifted. It would have become about the mystical experience rather than genuine compassion. You would have helped because of what he was, rather than simply because he needed help, and only pure compassion. Compassion that flows without any self-serving motivation whatsoever, carries the specific frequency necessary to reactivate angelic light that is fading into darkness. When you extended your hand to help, when you offered your time and attention without expecting anything in return, when you demonstrated kindness that was motivated solely by the desire to relieve another being's suffering, something miraculous happened in the invisible dimensions. Your compassionate energy began functioning as a spiritual defibrillator. Every gentle word you spoke sent pulses of divine light into his fading essence. Every act of kindness you performed reactivated fragments of his angelic nature that had gone dormant. Every moment of genuine attention and care you offered reconnected threads of celestial communication that had been severed. You were literally resurrecting a dying angel through the purity of your heart, restoring divine light through human compassion, rebuilding celestial bridges through earthly kindness. And while you thought you were simply being a decent person in what seemed like a completely ordinary situation, the entire celestial realm had stopped everything to observe a miracle unfolding, a human soul serving as a direct channel of angelic restoration. Something that happens maybe once in a generation, something so rare and precious that even I found myself moved by what you were doing. The angel began recovering his light. With each compassionate gesture you made, his essence grew stronger. The communication channels with higher hierarchies started re-establishing themselves. The frequency that had kept him trapped between dimensions began dissolving, melted away by the loving energy you were channeling. So naturally, you didn't even realize you were channeling anything. Within hours after your interaction with him, he was able to find his way back to his original dimension, completely restored, stronger than he was before the battle that nearly destroyed him. All because you chose to be compassionate when you could have just walked past and minded your own business. Like this video right now if you are beginning to recognize which situation I am describing, and you want to know what happened next in the celestial realm. When the angel finally managed to return to the celestial dimensions, the first thing he did was report what had happened to him. He stood before the highest council and told them everything, how he had been lost for months, how his light had been fading to the point of no return, how he had projected himself into your path as a last desperate attempt to connect with someone who could help, and how you, without knowing who or what he really was, had demonstrated such pure compassion that it literally saved his existence. The council was silent at first, because this kind of story is extremely rare in all of celestial history. Angels help humans all the time. That is part of their function. But humans saving angels, that almost never happens. The purity of heart required to help someone without any knowledge of their importance or any expectation of reward is so uncommon that when it does appear, it creates ripples throughout all spiritual dimensions. Then the angel said something that changed everything. He said, "This human didn't help me because I was an angel. They didn't help me to earn spiritual credit or because they sensed something mystical. They helped me simply because I was suffering, and they couldn't walk past suffering without responding." That level of compassion is rarer than I realized, rarer than we have acknowledged. This human needs to be recognized and protected. The moment those words were spoken, I made a decision that I want you to understand clearly. I decided to personally intervene in your life in ways I don't typically intervene in the lives of most humans, because what you demonstrated wasn't just kindness. It was the kind of divine compassion that I have been trying to teach humanity for thousands of years. Compassion that doesn't calculate. Kindness that doesn't keep score. Love that doesn't demand reciprocity. You showed me that my efforts haven't been in vain, that there are still humans who embody the values I have been attempting to instill in your species since the beginning. And when the Creator finds someone who genuinely embodies divine principles without even trying, without even knowing how rare and precious that is, there is an immediate response from heaven. I authorize the activation of permanent celestial support in your life, not temporary blessing that will fade, not conditional favor that depends on your continued perfect behavior. Permanent, unconditional, active support from the highest levels of celestial hierarchy. This is your new reality, starting from the moment you saved that angel. Here is specifically what was activated around you. First, you now have an angel assigned exclusively to you for the rest of your physical existence. Not a guardian angel that watches over you, generally like most humans have. A dedicated angel whose sole function is to ensure that you have everything you need to continue operating with the compassionate heart you demonstrated. This angel works full-time removing obstacles from your path, creating opportunities perfectly suited to your gifts, connecting you with people who will elevate your life, and blocking anything or anyone who would try to diminish or destroy your compassionate nature. Second, you were given what we call celestial priority status. This means that when you pray, when you ask for help, when you genuinely need something, your requests don't go into some general queue waiting to be processed eventually. They come directly to specialized attention immediately. You have direct access to resources that most humans never touch in their entire lives, simply because you proved yourself worthy through spontaneous compassion. Third, a protection field was established around you that specifically guards against spiritual attacks, designed to harden your heart or embitter your soul. The dark forces now know that you are someone who can save their enemies. They know you are dangerous to their agenda of spreading cruelty and indifference. They will try to attack you, to make you cynical, to convince you that being kind is foolish and you should stop. But those attacks will fail. Every curse sent toward you will bounce back to the sender. Every attempt to corrupt your compassionate nature will be blocked by forces operating at frequencies darkness cannot penetrate. Fourth, you are enrolled in what we call the Angelic Rescue Network. This means you are going to be strategically positioned in the paths of other angels who are in crisis. Not constantly, not so frequently that it overwhelms your life, but periodically you are going to encounter situations that seem ordinary on the surface, but are actually angels in disguise, needing human compassion to restore their celestial essence. And every time you help one, every time you demonstrate that same pure kindness you showed 3 weeks ago, you accumulate celestial favor that manifests as blessings in your physical reality. Write 999 in the comments if you can feel the truth of what I am telling you resonating in your soul right now. If you sense that your life is about to change in ways you have been hoping for but couldn't quite access until this moment. Now, let me tell you what is going to start happening in your physical reality as a direct result of these celestial activations. Within the next 30 days, you are going to notice a shift that you will not be able to explain through normal logic. Opportunities are going to start appearing from unexpected directions. Doors that seemed permanently closed are going to open. People who can genuinely help you advance in your life are going to cross your path as if guided by invisible hands. Resources you need are going to flow toward you from sources you didn't anticipate. This isn't abstract spiritual talk. This is concrete reality about to manifest in your experience. That job opportunity or career advancement you have been working toward. It is coming, but not from the direction you expected. That financial breakthrough you have been praying for. It is arriving, but through channels you haven't been watching. That relationship or connection you have been hoping for. It is being orchestrated right now in ways that will become visible to you soon. And here is what is most important for you to understand. These aren't blessings you have to earn through continued perfect behavior. These aren't conditional rewards that will be taken away if you make mistakes. These are permanent activations that were triggered the moment you saved that angel. They are yours now. They are part of your reality. The only thing that could block them is if you consciously chose to become a cruel, callous person who deliberately harms others. But based on what you demonstrated 3 weeks ago, I know that is not who you are. However, there is something else you need to know. With this level of celestial support comes a specific assignment, a mission that you are now qualified and equipped to fulfill. The angel you saved wasn't the only celestial being in crisis. There is a spiritual war happening right now across multiple dimensions, a war that determines whether humanity evolves to higher consciousness or regresses into primitive darkness. And, as part of this war, angels are being systematically targeted and attacked because dark forces have discovered something crucial. They have realized that destroying or corrupting angels is more effective than attacking humans directly. Because without angelic protection and guidance, humans become vulnerable to manipulation that makes them forget their divine nature. They become susceptible to lies that tell them cruelty is strength, that indifference is wisdom, that selfishness is survival. The dark forces have been winning this war not by making humans evil, but by making them numb, by convincing them that compassion is weakness and that caring about others is naive. But when a human saves an angel, when someone demonstrates such pure compassion that it restores celestial essence, it throws a wrench in the entire dark strategy, because it proves that no matter how much darkness spreads, there are still humans who naturally embody divine principles. Humans who cannot be corrupted because their compassion comes from something deeper than external influences. It comes from who they fundamentally are. You are one of these humans. And now that you have been identified, now that you have proven what you are capable of, you have a mission. Your assignment is to continue being exactly who you are, to continue demonstrating compassion in what seem like ordinary situations, because those ordinary situations are going to increasingly involve angels in crisis who need human kindness to restore their celestial strength. You are going to be positioned as a first responder in spiritual emergencies, an angelic rescue specialist operating in human form. This doesn't mean your life is going to become constantly dramatic or that you need to change everything about how you live. It means that as you go about your normal days, you are going to encounter situations where your natural compassion will save celestial beings who are fighting to protect humanity. And every time you do this, every time you help without knowing the full magnitude of what you are doing, you strengthen the forces of light in the universe. You tip the scales toward hope instead of despair. You ensure that humanity doesn't lose access to the divine qualities that make human existence meaningful. And the reward for this mission, it is automatic and it is unlimited. Every angel you save becomes your personal ally in the celestial dimensions. Every celestial being restored through your kindness dedicates a portion of their energy to improving your quality of life on Earth. Soon, not immediately, but progressively over the coming months, you are going to have what amounts to a personal angelic team working around the clock to ensure your existence is abundant, protected, and harmonious. Imagine having multiple angels actively working to create opportunities for you, solving problems before they fully manifest in your awareness, connecting you with people who elevate your life at exactly the right moments, arranging circumstances so that your path forward is increasingly clear and obstacles are increasingly rare. That is not fantasy. That is the practical reality of what happens when you operate as an angelic rescue specialist with celestial recognition. But here is the catch, and this is important. You have to maintain the humility and purity that made you worthy of this assignment in the first place. You cannot let this knowledge inflate your ego or make you feel superior to others. You cannot start helping people because you know it will benefit you, or because you are trying to save more angels to accumulate more celestial favor. The moment your compassion becomes calculated, the moment it becomes a strategy rather than natural expression of who you are, it loses the frequency that restores angelic essence. You have to continue being who you were 3 weeks ago when you helped without knowing the magnitude of what you were doing. Spontaneous, natural, genuine. Helping because you cannot not help when you encounter suffering. That is the purity that makes you effective in this mission. That is the quality that makes you dangerous to dark forces and valuable to heaven. Don't lose it. Don't corrupt it with spiritual ambition or mystical ego. Stay who you are and watch how your reality transforms. Your intuition is going to sharpen dramatically over the next few weeks. You are going to start sensing things about people and situations that you didn't sense before. You will look at someone and know, without being able to explain how you know, that they need your help in ways they might not even be consciously aware of yet. You will encounter situations that seem random, but you will feel pulled to pay attention, to get involved, to offer assistance. Trust those instincts. They are not random. They are your celestial assignment activating. Your words are going to carry more weight than they used to. When you encourage someone, they are going to feel it penetrate deeper than ordinary encouragement. When you speak truth, people are going to be moved in ways that don't match the simplicity of what you said. When you offer comfort, it is going to actually comfort in ways that surprise both you and the person receiving it. That is because you are no longer speaking just as yourself. You are channeling frequencies from dimensions that heal and restore. Your presence is going to become calming to people who are anxious, hopeful to people who are despairing, energizing to people who are exhausted. You will not be doing anything different. You will just be yourself. but yourself now carries celestial resonance that affects everyone in your proximity. Angels in crisis will be drawn to you like moths to light, because they will sense, even if they are too disoriented to understand why, that you are safe, that you can help, that you represent a bridge back to the dimensions they are trying to reach. And every time you help someone, every time you demonstrate kindness without knowing whether they are human or angel, every time you choose compassion over indifference, you are fulfilling your mission perfectly. You don't need mystical visions or supernatural experiences. You just need to keep being the person whose heart is moved by suffering and who responds with natural generosity. The blessings will follow automatically. The protection will operate without you having to monitor it. The opportunities will appear without you having to force them. The resources will flow without you having to manipulate circumstances, because you have proven yourself worthy of celestial investment. And when heaven invests in someone, when the Creator himself decides to personally ensure that person has everything they need, that person's life transforms in ways that seem miraculous to outside observers, but are simply natural consequences of divine favor. So, chosen one, now you know the complete truth. That simple act of kindness you performed 3 weeks ago wasn't simple at all. It was a celestial rescue operation where your spontaneous compassion saved an angel from spiritual extinction. You impressed me so thoroughly with the purity of your heart that I authorized permanent activations in your life that most humans never access in their entire existence. You have been enrolled in the Angelic Rescue Network as a first responder to celestial emergencies. And your reality is about to transform in ways that will confirm everything I am telling you is absolutely true. Your natural kindness isn't weakness. It is cosmic power that restores angelic essence and alters the balance between light and darkness in the universe. Your spontaneous compassion isn't naive. It is divine frequency operating through human form. Your simple acts of help aren't small. They are participating in spiritual warfare at the highest levels of reality. You are not just a good person trying to be decent. You are a celestial agent operating with my personal authorization and protection. Continue being who you are. Trust your instincts when they tell you to help. Respond to suffering with the same natural compassion you demonstrated 3 weeks ago, and watch how your life becomes evidence that heaven rewards those who embody divine principles without even trying. Watch how opportunities multiply beyond your capacity to explain them. Watch how protection operates so evidently that even skeptics notice something different about your life. Watch how you become living proof that genuine compassion is the most powerful force in existence. If you recognize that your simple act of kindness 3 weeks ago was actually participation in something far greater than you realized, write 777 in the comments to activate the frequency of celestial compassion and let other angelic rescue specialists know they are not alone in this mission. Subscribe to this channel and turn on all notifications to receive continued guidance about your assignment and revelations about how your compassionate essence operates miracles across multiple dimensions. Share this with someone who also demonstrates natural kindness that might be saving angels without knowing it. Because specialists in angelic rescue need to recognize each other, support each other, and strengthen the network that is protecting humanity from the darkness trying to extinguish all compassion. Click on the video appearing now to discover exactly how your new celestial authority attracts resources and opportunities that flow to those who have impressed heaven through genuine compassion. Together, we are stronger.